Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range. Okay, here we go, brother. You ready to roll?
Yep, ready to go.
All right, so I'm just going to do some shout-outs today. So I'd like to shout out Project Nazi. Those guys doing absolutely amazing work on the ground in Bali. They are putting food and essential items into the homes of the local Balinese community. You can donate to this cause via their GoFundMe page, which is GoFundMe Project Nazi COVID-19. Massive shout out to Sam Mahoney and his friends and their team. Basically saving people in Bali right now. It's really special. They're extremely transparent with exactly how the funds are being spent, and they do that on their Instagram page with a complete breakdown. There's zero filtering of those funds. And just remember, $2 can feed a family of 4 Balinese people per day. So a little bit goes a long way. I'd also like to shout out Indosol. They're working with House of Penny and Community Assist Bali. And for every pair of flip-flops they sell, they are actually supplying 3 meals to local Balinese people. And if they sell a pair of slides, they are supplying 5 meals. And if they sell a T-shirt in their Canggu shop, they are actually supplying 20 meals to the local Balinese people. And they're doing this with the restaurant Room for Dessert. And you can actually use the promo code on indosol.com, and the promo code is THT. And you will get a 15% discount on a pair of footwear from them. So use the promo code THT, which is for Terrible Happy Talks, and you'll get a 15% discount as well. All right. You ready, Steve?
Ready to go.
Let's rock and roll, brother.
I'm having a good time.
You are?
Yeah.
I can tell.
And we are rolling too.
Terrible Happy Talks. Terrible Happy Talks. Terrible Happy Talks. Terrible Happy Talks. Today's guest is Stephen Ellis. Stephen is a father, motivational speaker, skateboarder, and double amputee. Stephen grew up in a low socio-economic area on the southeast coast of New South Wales, Australia. Aside from being a highly dedicated father and skateboarder, Stephen is passionate about advocating for and raising awareness about the pandemic of mental illness that continues to sweep the world, particularly in males. Known as Stove to his friends, Stephen's skills on a skateboard are mind-blowing. You just have to watch his clips on YouTube to see his level of dedication and his ability to adapt. Upon meeting Stephen, I sensed his innate sincerity immediately, a person that is comfortable in his skin, empathetic and supportive of others. Today, Stephen is with me to share his journey, challenges, experiences, and hopes for the future. Stephen Stove Ellis, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Dude, thanks for being here, brother.
What an intro.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I did. I liked it a lot.
Because, you sort of sat there, watching me type away, and you're probably thinking, what the fuck is he writing? Thanks for your patience this morning.
Not a problem at all.
Yeah, it's
such a pleasure to be.
Yeah, it is, man. It's I'm actually glad we got to spend a bit of time anyway, because a mutual friend of ours sort of connected us.
Yeah.
And I'm highly interested in your story, man.
Thanks.
Yeah. Have you sort of, spoke about your journey to many people before?
Yeah, I have. I've spoke quite a bit about my journey. It's one thing I've always wanted to be able to talk about, and I guess, anyone else's hardship, if you can pass it on to someone else, can help them, in some way or another. It's always good to talk,
Do you feel the power of it?
Yeah, definitely. Damn. Communication's key.
Yeah. I hear that a lot, communication is key.
Yeah.
But I also have heard, sometimes, our hardships can become our superpower.
Yeah, definitely.
Is that how you feel?
It's like a saying that I always say, and I heard it young and I've always held on to it. It's you can't have the bad without the good and the good without the bad. And it's like anything in life, you know, you can choose whether it to be a bad situation or a good situation, you know. It's like it's what you make of it, you know. But in saying that, it takes a long time to realize that, you know, growing up and going through all that type of stuff yourself, as you know. So, yeah.
So, like, can you, like, maybe give us a description of where you grew up and what that was like?
Yeah, so I grew up in Berkeley, so basically the ghetto of Wollongong. And you know, it's pretty rough growing up and that, but it's again, it's just what you make of it, you know. And it's like a lot of people in Wollongong, you know, if you say Berkeley, they're like, don't fuck that place. It's like too ghetto, but no, it's not. It's I think it's like it's character building, you know, and it's like it is an old school sort of just a working class town, you know, but yeah, it is pretty rough and it's known for being rough, but I loved every second of it, you know. And we grew up right as kids, you know, getting into trouble and, you know, getting into mischief all the time, going out skating and just running amok, you know. But
good memories?
Awesome memories. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah.
Wouldn't change it, yeah.
When you say rough, like, what does that actually look like?
Rough. Rough can be a lot of things, you know, especially being in such a low economic area, you know. Could be, you know, whether it's like a lot of junkies or just a lot of people that, you know, have gone down the wrong path in life, and you know they're pretty crazy, you know, like they don't see the things, I guess, the way society else does, you know. But in saying that, you know, there's a lot of rough people, but there's a lot of good people there too. It's just like any town, so yeah, it's
an interesting concept because I think growing up for me, I think in a similar sort of socio-economic area, I would say rough a lot as well, and I'd be like, oh, there's crazy people everywhere, but I think really I was just surrounded by a lot of mental illness.
Yeah, definitely. It's like, definitely a big thing, yeah.
And a lot of people medicating for that through drugs and alcohol.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, was that like in Berkeley as well?
Yeah, a lot, you know. So it was, like I was saying, it's like there was a lot of bad and a lot of good, you know, but there was a lot of, you know, heavy drug users and just, you know, as it being a low-income area, you know, not a lot of people work and a lot of people lose themselves along the way, and everyone has their escape, you know, whether it's bad or good or toxic or whatever, you know. So everyone has a release.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. You know, like, I think all classes of society have their problems.
Yeah.
I just think the ones in the lower class, the problems just appear more obvious.
Yeah.
But doesn't mean they're actually worse.
Yeah, exactly right. Like I say, like everyone has a plate and everyone's plate's full.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what's on there, but it's full. So we all have something in common, you know.
We do.
Yeah.
I think, it's this human condition of trying to survive in this world that we've been forced to live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
The conformity of society.
Dude, it is. It is. Like, let's cut the bullshit. Like, you know, sometimes I just get fed up with people going, like when you say to someone, oh, how you going? And they're like, oh, yeah, I'm good, yeah.
Yeah.
But then you really start talking to them and they say, oh, I've been working 40, 50 hours a week. I'm tired and I'm still struggling for money. Yeah. You know, I'm sad inside, but no, you know.
It's definitely what you make of it. It's like my granddad, you know, so from my mum's side of the family, they were from Chile, you know, and my granddad, you know, they were part of the coup and the civil war and stuff over there and fled as political refugees, you know, and they come to the best country in the world, you know, one of the best countries in the world, Australia, you know, where, you know, you're free to do whatever you want. And they struggled and went, you know, had a hard time over there, my whole family, you know, and they moved over here and made a better life for himself. And, you know, they just enjoyed the little things in life. And like, you know, even up until near the end of my granddad's days, you know, some of the things that he went through in life, I couldn't imagine going through that. And even him being crook with dementia and other things and having multiple illnesses, you'd ask him how he was going for the day. And, you know, it was never a bad answer, you know, it's what you make of it, you know, and he was always happy and he always wanted to be positive. So yeah, it's just how I've just been conditioned to, you know, to live from a young age. So
did I sense that from you the second I met you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, you can meet some people and just you get a vibe off them. You're like, But yeah, I felt your
It's like
energy.
they say, like as soon as somebody opens their mouth, you can not judging someone, but you can make your own opinion on what they're like, like, yeah.
My mum's the best at it. I think mums, they pick up like,
Yeah, mums are always good at that.
Mum will see me, hey, go on. Yeah, I'm good. And she'll be
Yeah.
like, shut up, sit down. What's wrong?
Yeah,
I'm like,
definitely,
oh,
definitely.
I'm sad. So you're Chilean background.
Yeah, so dad's Indigenous, like Koori, so Aboriginal, and mum's South American from Chile. Yeah.
How cool, man.
Yeah, it's a mix. Have
you been to Chile?
No, I haven't yet. But I definitely want to go back. And my mum still hasn't been back yet either, which is just more of it's like a very emotional thing because of everything they're going through. But it's definitely something she wants to do really bad. But I'd love to be able to go there with her one day and pick back up on my Spanish and go live it up. And
Do you have any Spanish skills?
A little bit. So I haven't had to speak Spanish and stuff for years since my grandparents passed on and that. But I wish it was something that I kept up more to been able to pass on to my kids, But yeah, it's just the way it is,
Yeah, like it's funny. We talk about our grandparents, like we talk about the hard times that we're going through, but they didn't have to flee a country because of civil unrest or a dictatorship.
Yeah, exactly right.
They didn't have to go through the world wars.
Yeah.
Where people were just getting killed en masse.
Yeah.
So it is because of those times that they went through that we do enjoy these luxuries.
Exactly right, Yeah.
And puts it in perspective, eh?
Definitely, it's crazy when you get older, the things that and the way you see that. It's like when I was a kid and my mum used to tell me, if I was ungrateful or if I was just being a shit and not listening and you never listen when you're younger. And it's like you get older and you realize like, oh fuck, like mum was onto it. Like I was just you got to grow up somehow and you got to realize this yourself, So, yeah.
Excuse my ignorance. Like that, you said your grandparents had to flee Chile because of the dictatorship of that really horrendous dictator. What was his name again?
Pinochet.
Sorry, it was on the tip of my tongue. Yeah, I mean, wow.
Yeah, incredible.
And it's funny, like I've met a few Chileans over the course of my life. Yeah. And I always get along with them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just always seem to connect with them. So then the second you said that, I was of course it's Chilean.
Yeah, very humbling people, I guess. Like, there's like, it's like with everyone, there's a good and the bad. But there's, I don't know, it's something about it too. It's I hold on to it very dearly, and I just see it with my family and that too. It's just like, it's very loving, so much unconditional love. And it's like, most Chileans just want to, the way people will treat them is the way, they'll get treated back, So, and in saying that, but too, they're pretty fiery at the same time, but it's like anyone, yeah.
I've been accused of that a lot in Australia because my biological father is Maltese.
Okay, yeah.
And Mediterranean, and often, like I've had it throughout the course of my life. I've got a tendency to be like, I'm going to say passionate, excited. I get excited. I get very excitable. Yeah, and sometimes it's not nice. Like, and I've been often accused of being a fiery Mediterranean. Even though I was born in Australia, and my mum's like whatever you want to call white Australian.
Yeah.
And all that, but it's I don't know. I don't make any apologies for it.
No way. No.
Yeah,
I'm the same too. Like I always try to be pretty calm and humble, but at the same time, like if someone's going to treat me like shit, I'm going to, treat them like shit too, but not in a sense where I'm doing it where where I'm doing wrong by myself, like if someone wants to be like that, then it's their own decision, but I'm in saying that, like, I'm not going to treat someone too bad back, but I am, I'm just going to do my own thing and, I'm not going to worry about what other people are doing. Like I don't really lose sleep on how other people act, Do
you have a tendency to like speak your mind
all the time?
And how's that worked out for you?
Good
and bad?
Yeah, good and bad, So, yeah.
Tendency to tell people what you really think of them?
Yeah, I'm one person. I always speak my mind, like.
So if you've got an issue with someone, you're not holding that in, you'll just let them know?
Yeah, just let them know. But I guess it's how you come across about it too, If you do have an issue, it's like you got to talk about it, But in saying that, you can't be a dick and just be rude about it straight away. Like, You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on that.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard rather than like talk to someone. Like when we get angry, we get the shit. You like just tell someone to get fucked straight away, but that's not always the right thing to do. You know.
So you're sort of saying like the key's in the delivery.
Definitely, because communication's key.
That's where I get confused because I do know that you can't hold stuff in, and if there's an issue, you got to get it out. You got to talk about it because. It'll just sit in there and fester like an infection.
Yeah, exactly right. There's a process of all that type of stuff. There's a way to go about things, you know. Yeah,
and I think that as an art form to how you deliver it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, some of us do it better than others, especially like with your partner.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people could relate to that.
Yeah.
So brother, like, if you don't mind, like, I just want to let's get it out of the way early.
Yep.
Okay. You double amputee.
Yep.
Would you mind telling the story behind that?
Yep. So basically from birth, I was born with a lower limb deficiency. So they call it a congenital deformality. And so what happened was just from the knees down, I had my shins and just feet just weren't formed right. And in saying that, there was, you know, once I was born, they didn't really know in the ultrasound or anything, but once I was born, they seen that, you know, obviously there was something wrong with me legs, you know, they fucking weren't formed right. So there wasn't much they could really do at that time. There was either really the only options was to leave them the way they were and then to be able to struggle and not really have much mobility or put splints in my legs and I would have been like fucking Frankenstein and had straight legs for the rest of my life, or the amputation possibility of like a wheelchair, prosthetics, all that type of stuff. And like now that I look back on it, it's like I look back on it a lot, and especially after having kids, it's like it would have been the hardest decision for my parents to make, you know, but it's a decision they went with. And I don't, you know, I now with my disability being older, like it was hard coming to terms with it for a long time, but I just see it now. It's just like, you know, I kind of feel for my parents more than anything. It's like, this is how I've lived. I don't know any other different, but I do have empathy for people that, you know, have worse off, or, you know, people that might be a little bit better off, or whatever the case is, you know, but it's, it took me a long time to realize all that type of stuff and realize that, you know, would have been the hardest thing for my parents to go through, you know. So I just feel for them more, you know, especially my mum, you know, like, but at the end of the day, there's nothing, you know, there's nothing any different to me. I'm just the same, you know. I've had an amazing life, you know, and got 3 beautiful kids, and, you know, and I've skated, I make people happy, you know, and I have the best network of people around me, you know, so I'm so lucky, you know. I've got such a good family, and I've got the best mates anyone could ask for, you know, so, yeah.
Dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I can tell.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
I know a couple of them. And
yeah.
Just to clarify a couple of things. So it was I guess a birth defect.
Yep.
And so you weren't aware, obviously. How old were you when those decisions were made?
When those decisions were made, I was 2 years old. Okay. So yeah.
So you have zero memory of.
Yeah. Nothing much. But in saying that, it's weird because there's like little things from back then I can remember, but they say like when you've been traumatized with certain different things, you like remember little things, but it's like. It's weird in saying that because I don't really remember the bad things. You know, I can remember like blankly, like just like mildly remember the hospital afterwards, and I remember having casts on. And so because I've always just been like, I was always really wild as a kid.
Casts on?
Yeah, so they had to put cast over when they operated on the legs, they'd have to put casts on them because.
So you had numerous operations?
So I just had obviously the 2 for the 2 legs.
Yeah.
But in saying that, what they did is they put plaster around it afterwards because it was like so tender and I think it was like hundreds of stitches, and me being young and being a boy and just going crazy, like they'd have to put casts on me so I didn't split them all open.
Yeah.
But in saying that, I'm pretty sure I think it was like a day or 2 after my operation, I was like crawling around with the casts on.
Dude.
Through the hospital and like,
no.
Yeah, I snuck out of my bed and like mum told me I climbed up. They used to have this big toy rack in like the toy room in the kids ward where I had the operation, and they caught me like in the middle of the night climbing up this fucking big toy box or something like that. So yeah, I've always been like that, you know. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I've always gotten into mischief like that, like as a kid and stuff. Yeah.
So you don't actually feel there's any trauma there?
Nah.
That's okay.
No.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, how interesting.
Yeah.
So and then like growing up,
Yeah.
okay, so as you started to become aware of your situation and your awareness grew of the world around you.
Yeah.
What were some of the early feelings that would come into your mind when you'd see other children running around and yeah.
Well, it was like, it took me, so, you know, I'm nearly 30 now. I'm 30 in August, and like to the way that I am now, how I see things, it took a long time. It was a really long process. You know, there was, as a kid, you know, most kids would have been like, why me? And that's how I was, you know, it's like, why me? And it was like, it was a lot of anger. I was a really angry kid growing up in saying that. And, you know, there was heaps of drama going on at home with like mum and dad. You know, and then mum and dad split up for a while and didn't have dad around for like quite some time. And I was just with mum, you know, getting raised by a single mum and trying to figure myself out as a young man, and then with a disability, you know, and as a kid. And yeah, I had a lot of anger issues, you know, growing up about that, and a massive chip on my shoulder for a long time in saying that. But I was just, you know, I used to be very hard on myself about it, but now I look back on it and it's like, you know, it's a process, you know, and it's like, it's a very hard thing to go through, especially for my mum. I just feel sorry for my mum more than anything, like, because she had to put up with me. I would have been an asshole, like, you know, but yeah, it took me a long time to sort of grow up into the man that I am now today, you know, and I can sit here proud in front of you and, you know, and say it was a hard process, and it's always going to be an ongoing process, you know, and it's just about, you know, trying to perfect you as a person to what, you know, what's your, you know, your morals, you know, your values, and, you know, how you want to progress in life and be as a person. That's kind of, you know, just how I try to be and try to learn every day, you know, because no one is perfect. No one ever will. But, you know, you can always strive for greatness. So, yeah. In yourself, in saying that, without an ego.
Mate, the ego is powerful.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
I love that. You can always strive for greatness.
Yeah.
It's true, man.
Yeah.
Progression.
Definitely. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of skateboarders
Yeah.
have this that attitude because I feel like the nature of skateboarding is progression.
Yeah.
And maybe that's had an influence on you that way.
Definitely. Especially coming from Wollongong too. Just like it's a raw, gnarly sort of old school scene of skateboarders that come from Wollongong, you know, and it's crazy in saying that. It's like the skaters from Wollongong are raw. Like they're really raw. Yeah. Gnarly. They don't give a fuck. Like they don't care what the world's doing. Just like skate fast and just go hard. Like I love it.
Because the environment's raw too. Like, I mean, a lot of the street spots, there's no perfect marble ledges everywhere.
Definitely not Hollywood.
You know?
Yeah.
So they've had to be tough to adapt to that.
Definitely.
And it's been really over the years minimal skate parks or decent ones.
Yeah, exactly right.
You know? And so yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Hey, how interesting.
Yeah.
It's funny, you've said it a few times already, like, I just felt sorry for me mum.
Yeah.
When did you come to that realization as a person that your situation would have been really hard for your mum? Was it something you realized early on, or was it later?
See, it was more once I got a little bit older, sort of at the back end of being a teenager, you know, when I guess, you know, as a teenager, it's like all about me. You know, it is for everyone. It's a phase, you know. But as you get a little bit older, and I don't know, you make your own mind up about things. I think it's big once you leave school, in a sense, where it's just like, you know, you're trying to uphold this standard of, you know, how you want to look towards everyone. And I was always, because I felt like I got judged by everyone, because it's not the so-called norm, and you know, it's not very often you see someone, you know, getting around on a skateboard with no legs or whatever, you know. So there's always a lot of people that look at me, and, you know, I used to feel like I used to get judged all the time. So I kind of cared too much about what people thought about me, you know. And, you know, once I got over that, the feeling of, you know, just thinking about myself all the time, you know, and I started, you know, having empathy for, you know, the people around me, and started realizing that my actions, you know, have consequences. And, you know, and the way, you know, once I started realizing, you know, the way you should be treating people like in life, you know, and stuff, And yeah, once I started learning that process a lot more, it's when it kicked in a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, such delicate years, those teen years.
Oh, they are, mate. They are.
Yeah, like, and I think you said it perfect. Like, it's when you really want to, you want to fit in, and
there's a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know where you fit in.
Yeah.
And then it's you're self-conscious, and then you're starting to get feelings towards other people, girls or guys, or whatever,
guys,
whatever you're into, and it's confusing. So you got all these mixed emotions and hormones, and so I take those teenage years very seriously. Like I just see these young people they present as almost adult. They sound adult,
but they're far from it.
But they're just you scratch the surface, they're confused.
Definitely.
Even the ones that look like they got it together.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, like, it can actually turn into a really traumatic time for a lot of young people, and it sticks with them for years and years.
Yeah.
So I guess in your situation too, it might have been magnified because you might have felt. Did you ever feel feelings of isolation?
Not really. See, this is the thing where I think I started realizing it too, is that because of the upbringing I had and where I was from and the people I had around me, like, I had just raw people, like raw human beings. And like, as a kid, like, even when I first got into skating, like, I remember, like, rest in peace to one of my mates who just passed away not long ago. I remember going to the skate park in my wheelchair. It was around 2001. So I always rode a skateboard just on the flat ground, but I never rode a skate park. And I remember getting to the park, and I was just sitting there on my chair, and my mates were all skating. I was watching everyone, and my mate was just like, "What are you doing?" Like, and I was like, "Well, no, just chilling, watching." He's like, "No, what are you doing? Like, skate with this man." And he was like, I've been lucky to have a lot of people like that in my life too. Very, very inspirational people to me without even realizing it. But I remember he just like told me, he's like, "Drop in, like, skate with us, man. What are you doing?" And like, stop fucking feeling sorry for yourself, and you're just the same as us, and do it. And it just really pushed me into it, So, and in saying that, I did get hurt heaps of times doing it, but once I got the hang of it, it was just like, that was my release. I've always loved skateboarding, and especially once I started skating properly, and I started feeling like a lot more accepted. It's like, even though now that I'm older, it's just like, I have no want to be accepted, because I try to hold myself to a certain standard that I know it's true by myself and true by everyone else. But in saying that, because I felt like I got judged so much, I always looked at that and was like, because skateboarding, it's like, say, for instance, I go through the mall and it gets, everyone just stares, which is fine. It's just curiosity. But I didn't see it like that back then. Everyone would stare at me and judge me. But then I'd get on a skateboard, and once I started getting really good, like, it's like people were just so mind blown and just couldn't believe that, like, what I was doing, is because they were conformed to think that I had a disability, that I wasn't, capable of doing things, So, but so in saying that, I used to love that. I used to love rocking up to skate parks and, just listening to what people say. And so many people would be like, "Oh, this guy's got no legs." Like, "Oh shit, like, what's he doing?" And then they'd see me on top of like a, 8-foot ramp or something about to drop in. They're like losing their minds, thinking I'm going to die. And then I just start ripping, and then they're just like, "Holy shit. Like,
dude, you're ripping."
Yeah. They're like, "Holy shit, we're doing something wrong in life," But it's like, I love that. I love being able to motivate people in that sense, so.
Dude, you're ripping with style too. Like, I seen a video clip of you. I think you ollied like a 5 or 6 stair in the mall.
Yeah.
Like, I watched you, like, and when you landed, and then you had to sort of turn real sharp.
Yeah.
And it was like you had like a little bit of steez about you when you landed. It's like you stomped it, and I was like, like your arms weren't flying around everywhere. I was just like, boom. And
it's because I got raw friends. They're gonna fucking critique me if I'm doing something weird. Everyone's gonna pick up on it.
And that like, I was really impressed by that blunt slide you did down that escalator ramp, like the escalator section of that bowl, the bowl
at Fairs.
Is it Ferry Meadow or Berkeley?
Yeah, at Ferry Meadow, that one. Yeah.
And I was just like,
"No, cheers, man."
Like, and you
that.
popped out of it as clean as a whistle. I was like, yes.
Yeah, cheers.
Yeah, and it's good that you recognise that. It is super inspiring, bro.
Yeah.
Because like you said, we all have this mindset of like, well, this is what's normal.
Yeah, exactly right.
But you know what I say?
Yeah.
Fuck normal.
Yeah, exactly
You
right.
know, like really.
Yeah. What is normal? There's no such thing as normal. Yeah.
I think that's the problem though.
Yeah.
Is this notion of normal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's
pretty
it
deep. It's
definitely
pretty
is.
deep.
It is. It's really deep. But it's like you're gonna dive into that type of stuff. You know, it's like we were saying. Talking about mental health. Earlier on, it's like you need to talk about these things. And that's what I didn't do as a kid. It's like because I don't know. I didn't have like my old man around as much as I'd like when I was younger, and I just didn't have a solid person to talk to. It was like. I always had mum and stuff. She's always been there for me, but it's like a young man, it's hard to be able to talk to certain people. And it's like, it was really hard for me to talk to mum at first, where now, like, mum's my best friend and she's literally like, we spoke about everything. Like, she knows everything now. But in saying that, it's hard to find that release at that age, young, and you need to talk about it. It's like, now that I'm older and realize all this, I want to be able to talk about that stuff, and I want to help people. I feel like even if you can just chat to someone and you change their day, they could be on the verge of like suicide or just severe depression or whatever, and you can literally even saying hello to someone can change someone's day. It doesn't take much.
It doesn't.
No, not at all.
Would you say like you've been given an opportunity to be like a beacon of hope for people?
In a sense, yeah, I do. In a sense, I do. But I feel like, as I was saying before, it's just the good with the bad with the good. It's what you make of it. And it's like, I have, not a bad situation, but a hard situation. And I can choose whether to do what I want to do out of it. I can use it for bad and be like depressed and, unfortunately not be able to see the good things I can get out of it.
Like you're a victim.
Yeah, exactly right. And then unfortunately it's just, some people do, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, this is what it's about. It's like, I'm fortunate enough to be able to see this, and why not give back and be able to help somebody else that might be in that situation that can't see those things, So it's a real big thing that I just, you need to talk about, and like, especially for it doesn't matter where you come from, whether you're poor or rich, you're black or white, it doesn't matter, everyone has their own struggles growing up, and being able to talk about that stuff more and finding, releases, whether what it is, whether it's art or skateboarding or surfing or, whatever, rapping, I don't know, whatever people do.
Rapping? Fuck yeah, I want to rap.
Whatever. I wish I could rap too. No, but it's just about whatever you can release,
Like, don't wallow in your shit.
Yeah, but in saying that, it's like, it's hard to see that when you're young, Yeah.
If you don't mind me asking, you said that your father was sort of not around for a period there.
Yeah.
How do you feel that might have impacted upon you?
Well, at first,
at the time,
like,
and then later
at the
on.
time, it was super hard, like really hard, because so when mum and dad broke up, I was about 7. But in saying that, me and dad were real close at that time, and even then, dad's had a rough trot too. Dad was part of the stolen generation and stuff, and he's had a rough life too. In saying that, but even then, I used to blame him a lot for a lot of things that happened, and it wasn't until I got older and had kids, and I got rid of that, because it's to hold on to that, and I don't know, to have that toxic part in your heart. It's just not good for anyone. It's not good for yourself. It's not good for the people around you, and it's like you can't move on with something if you're holding on to the past. You got to live in the present. You got to live in the moment. You got to think of the future and forget the past, because you can't change the past. And, you got to live in the moment, And it took me a long time in saying that, without having dad there, and even dad, he still shits me up the wall now, and, he's dad's dad. He just does his own thing really. And that's fine, but in saying that, it's just like, I guess it's just taught me what I wanted to be out of a parent too, and, I love both of my parents, I love my mum, I love my dad. I love my mum especially. Like,
same, dude.
Biggest mummies.
Same, I talk about this all the time. I love her more now than I ever have, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a guru.
Yeah, it's good.
Guru.
Yeah.
It's so good, bro.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Stove, like, can you give us a brief rundown of what the stolen generation, what happened with the stolen generation? Do you mind giving us a bit of a history? Because there would be people that don't understand that.
Yeah. So basically, it all started from colonisation of Australia. where, all those horrific things that everyone's, most people are aware of is what happened in Australia back in the day and stuff, years ago. But the stolen generation essentially is Indigenous children getting taken away from their family. Whatever the government reasons were, they definitely weren't the reasons why they said they did it. In saying that, like, it's a big subject, and it's like, yeah, it's something I feel like I'd love to be able to dwell into all of that more, but I feel like I need to know more to be able to talk about it more. But in saying that, I know the basics of it, and I know what happened to my dad, especially, so like my granddad was, he was a Boilermaker by trade, and he actually played first grade football for the Rabbitohs and for the Tigers, and years ago, back in the 60s. And my grandma, she worked all of her life too, and she had a degree in university. And the government said to my grandparents that my grandparents were incompetent and unable to raise a child. And then they put my father into foster. And then Dad didn't find his family till he was 33 years old, So, and this was after they signed their they signed the treaty, the Declaration Treaty. And this was, I think it was like 10 or 15 years after they said they stopped the stolen generation, which they actually didn't. And this happened for thousands, hundreds and thousands of people all around Australia, and it's happened ever since Australia's been colonised, And that's why, like I was saying, like it's because I think it's like the Chilean. I'm very like political at the same time, and all my family are from both sides, and it's like it's definitely something that, like, I don't know. I just feel like it's a touchy subject because not everyone feels the same about political standpoints. But yeah, it's definitely something that I don't hold on to or anything like that, but it's something I'm very conscious of, and very aware with life now, and that's another thing. It's like why may have a disability or whatever, but I have no excuses to be down every single day and all this. It's like my parents went through a lot, and my grandparents, they've all sacrificed a lot for us, where I didn't see it like that, but they've sacrificed a lot for us to be able to be happy. And, we live in one of the best countries in the world. We don't really have much to be mad about. It's like we have so much here to help us.
Why to be complicated then?
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess like you sort of mentioned then, politics are sensitive. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And they should be. Yeah. It's good. And, there's the old saying, like, never talk about politics or religion.
Yeah.
Because, it can polarize people.
Yeah.
Because they'll have their view and their standpoint, and they'll be they can be staunch on that. I get that.
Yeah.
I just do want to go on a little bit more about your father. Fundamentally, you strip back all the politics. He was taken away from his family.
Yeah, he was.
We're both fathers ourselves. Yeah. Like, imagine someone said to us, "We're taking your kid."
I couldn't imagine it.
It's brutal.
Yeah, it's insane.
Brutal, and it happened to so many people.
Yeah.
As the son of that father,
yeah.
How do you think it impacted on him mentally? Did it translate into issues for him?
Massive issues. Can you just
give us? Like, I think it would really help to get an insight.
Yeah, definitely.
Like a first-hand insight.
Yeah, definitely. So, just like the brief sort of story of my dad, so he would have been, he was taken away as a baby, and then he got given to another family. He got fostered out, and with that. So once he did finally get like adopted, and he got found with a new family, which is the Reese family. I think he was just he was very aware of everything that went on, but it would have just been something missing for him growing up, his whole life, and he didn't know what race he was, and all of his mates used to call him Indian and stuff like that. Like, he just didn't know what he was or who he was, and in saying that, I think there was a big thing missing for my dad his whole life. In saying that, and then
like he didn't know where he fit.
Yeah, he felt like he never fitted in, and even too, it's just like, people would have been at the same time racist towards him. And
did he get to know his birth parents?
Yeah, he did eventually when he was about 33. So I was about 2 years old.
So he would have carried those questions.
He carried
his whole life for
his whole life,
30 years.
Yeah, and then he moved out from his foster well, his parents, you know, his mum and dad, adopted mum and dad. I think he was about 16. He moved out of there, and then he actually lived in Sydney for a while as a butcher. He lived in the Tony Mundine hostel.
No way.
Yeah, and he was a butcher for a few years, and then he joined the Navy. Was in the Navy as a cook, and I think he might have done a couple other things there too, and just a few other things that he did. But in saying that, like, he went through a lot through all that time, you know, and as everyone does,
Like
you know,
mental, internally.
mental, all this type of stuff, and used to drink a lot too. Used to drink a lot of piss when he was younger. Still does now, but just didn't really cope with it the right way when he was young. And yeah, just that put a strain on, you know, mum and dad. And, you know, I guess it's like when anyone that goes through those big first relationships, it's like you're going to be doing things that might not be right towards your other partner or whatever, and it just becomes toxic and, you know, very volatile. And it did.
And then the only alternative feels like to split.
Yeah, exactly.
Which then leads into other problems, especially if you have children. Then the children are affected by that.
Exactly. So
my question to you is, what's the solution for couples to get through that toxicity?
I think that should be like the new age-old question for everyone.
Fuck, it's the hardest question ever.
I guess it's just there's no right thing. That's life. There's no, you know, when it comes to those type of things, it's just life. Is like, you know, it's so hard to go through. It's just such a process. It's like, I don't know. I used to, so, you know, I was engaged, you know, obviously with my ex-partner and that I have 3 kids to. And, you know, even then it was just like a lot of things that, because I was young. I was a young dad. I was, you know, 21 when I got with her and stuff. And I just didn't, I don't know. I just feel like growing up as a young man, I just did a lot wrong. Like, you know, we both done a lot wrong towards each other. And I just think
deliberately?
Definitely not deliberate, you know, but, you know, in saying that, it's like you're aware of these things sort of to a certain standard, but you don't really act upon changing because you're just trying to figure yourself out. And it's like, unfortunately, you know, some people might be, you know, when they get upset, might yell too much or, you know, or treat their other significant half bad or whatever the case is, you know. And yeah, I just think, you know, me and my ex-partner would have went through all that type of stuff too, you know, and I don't know. I would have been a fucking prick to deal with back then too, you know.
But see, I'm going to share my opinion on it. Like, I think whether you're 21 or 31 or 41, yeah, you know, you're still going to make mistakes. Yeah, and you're still going to be a prick sometimes, and you're still going to do the wrong thing. Yeah, and I think a majority of the time it's unintentional. I feel like it's just us humans trying to survive in this world. Yeah, definitely. And the hard thing about it is that we're with someone who's our other half, technically, especially when you have kids. Definitely. And unfortunately, like, they have to carry the burden of your mistakes and vice versa. And so, in my opinion, I feel like it comes back to something really simple, and that's tolerance, love, and then this notion of what you said earlier about not living in the past, but trying to work towards the future. Yeah, definitely. And I'm really working on it. Like, I've actually let the past define me. You know, and you've said it, I could reflect on bad things that have happened to me throughout the course of my life, and for many years I've let them define me. Like I'm the way I am because this happened and because that happened. And it hasn't really got me that far. Yeah. So now I try to define myself by my perfect future. Yeah. You know, like, definitely. I'm excited about the future because like, that's who I am now. I'm not the past. Yeah. And I don't know, when I do that, I feel like everything in my world gets better. Yeah. My relationships, my friendships, my work stuff. Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely is as a process, you know, and there's so many things that we don't take into consideration, or we just look at differently. And I guess time changes those things, and just being more aware of what's going on and what you do, you know. It's like, even with my ex-partner, you know, I was always about, like, wanting people to change, you know, when I started becoming aware of things and wanting people to change or do things differently. But it's acceptance. You've got to accept that sometimes we're not all the same, and people are going to be different to you.
you know, and it took me a long time. I held on to all that for a long time, and I went through some severe depression and stuff after all that, you know, but I'm in a good place
After the
now.
relationship break.
Yeah, after the relationship, and just hard with the kids, and, you know, me and my ex-partner, you know, doing just making it hard on each other, you know, as it always is, you know, when everyone's hurt, you know, people do certain things and that. But we're getting to a better place now, slowly, you know. But it's a big process, you know. At the end of the day, I don't have to worry about all the things she's doing or whatever. Like, I just have to worry about my kids and myself, you know, and that's it. Like, it's all I have to do, and that's my goal, you know, looking after them and striving to be better. And, you know, that's why, like we were saying before, I want to be a motivational speaker and stuff. And
Did you are?
Yeah, cheers, thanks. And like, I want to help people, you know, and I just want to make them proud at the end of the day. I just want to do right by my kids and I want to inspire them, you know. I want them to be able to chase their dreams and do all that type of stuff, you know, because I feel like I should be pursuing my dreams if I want my kids to grow up and me tell them to pursue their dreams. It's like, if I'm wallowing and, you know, want them, every parent wants their kids to succeed, but it's like, you've got to be able to show the proofs in the pudding, you know. You can't just tell someone to do something and you're not doing it yourself. So I definitely want to be able to do that to my kids, you know. And yeah, so I feel like I've lived my life the way I've wanted to live it, and things have happened, you know. Maybe not the way that I wanted to, but I'm glad it all did, because it's who I am today now. And it's like all of the hardship, all the good stuff, it's just like it's mold you into the person that you know, grow into.
And you like who you are.
Yeah, definitely. I love who I am as a person at the moment.
Right,
like, I'm stoked. Yeah, I'm stoked with myself, you know. I'm stoked with the people in my life, you know. I've got the best friends ever, so I'm stoked to where it's come. But it's taken a long time, you know, and I've lost a lot of friends on the way and all that type of stuff, you know. But in saying that, like, you know, it's just life. Like,
the best friends ever.
Yeah.
Skateboarders?
Both, man. So in saying that, growing up in Berkeley and that too, I got a lot of friends that, you know, play footy or don't play footy, or muso friends, or friends from high school, or friends from Dapto where I live now, you know, and I've got a lot of friends from Berkeley and Wollongong, and a lot of skateboarding friends and that too. So pretty versatile bloke. So yeah.
That's what I love about skateboarding. Skateboarding doesn't discriminate. I mean, same for me. I always felt a bit lost. I didn't know where I fit, because I'm born in Australia, you know, my mother is like traditional white Australian, you know, and then, however, my father was Maltese. Yeah. He was born in Malta, but he was moved over to Australia when he was 1. Yeah. And their side of the family his side of the family was Maltese. And then I got all my dad's genes and physical characteristics, like dark hair, darker skin. So I spent a lot of my like school years being put into that category of being like a wog or ethnic. And I was just like, I don't understand. Like, I'm Aussie, and my dad doesn't speak the language or doesn't do any cultural practices. Yeah. He's Aussie too, and my mum's Aussie, and you know, both my grandparents went to World War II fighting for this country. Like, even my Maltese grandfather, because they were part of the British Empire at the time, whatever that is, or whatever. I don't even like. It's not something I'm even proud of to say, but that he was, and so, you know, in that sense of this country's skewed identity, you know, like I just was like, well, I'm the same, aren't I? You know, and so I always struggled with that myself, you know. Yeah, exactly. But then when I like found skateboarding, like I first just loved I love skateboarding. I was like, I would just want to roll around on that thing. Let's do this. Yeah. But then when I met my crew that I grew up with through my teen years, especially, it was like, we don't care. Like, and everyone was diverse, and it was like, but we had this common love, and it didn't matter, you know. But when I played soccer or footy growing up or anything else, it was like, okay, well, you're the little wog guy. You're gonna play this position, you know. And I'm like, what, you know? But I loved that, and I just felt like it was my tribe straight away. I felt like. And those friendships and those memories are literally the most precious of my life.
Exactly right. Like I feel exactly the same when it comes like that. Especially my mates from skateboarding. I've been really blessed with all that. It's like, because I came from before, so as I skated young, and because I always like, it was a stage for a long time where I wanted to be a pro and make all the money in the world and all that other.
You had that dream?
Yeah, all that other
Same.
garbage, like I had that as a dream for a while, but like, because I didn't get fully serious, like properly into skateboarding because I played wheelchair basketball too in between this. Like, because every kid that's like skates, they like play footy or they do other things, but they skate too. And I always skated like all the way through primary school to high school, but I played wheelchair basketball at the same time. And I used to play for I played for Illawarra, I played for New South Wales, and you know, just at the sort of peak of my career, like me wheelchair basketball career, I just made the junior national side. And yeah, but then I don't know, I just felt very conflicted at the same time with it, and just was like, all the people I had in my life in skateboarding was so different to the people in my life playing basketball, and it's just like, once I started skating, I just knew that's what I wanted to do, and I just feel, I don't know, I just felt more at home with it, and I was just so blessed because I feel like once I started skating, getting into it, I became friends with everyone in, especially Wollongong skateboarding community too, which is amazing. You know, it's like, especially back then too, it was so thriving. You know, it was like such a big thing, and all the guys that were older than me, they were like, when I was a kid anyway, like they were all rock stars to me. You know, like especially all those older guys, like the 100 mile per hour crew, especially those older dudes, like. I looked up to them so much, and I just couldn't believe that, like, how fast and aggressive these guys all skated, and just loved it. And then, you know, with all my other mates too that were a bit younger than them, around the same age as me, I just, you know, like guys like Marty Girotto and everyone too, and so they were the guys that I sort of grew up with skating with a lot more too, and a lot of the guys from Dapto, like Dave Adams, another one of my good mates, like one of my best mates. And a few other guys now that a lot of them don't skate anymore. A lot of them still do. But, yeah, just with all those guys growing up, I was just so accepted, and, you know, I don't know. I couldn't see myself doing anything else, you know. Even the past few years where injuries and stuff, and I've always like on and off, and not being able to skate from being hurt or whatever, or just going through things and not skating as much. It's always something I've always gravitated back to. And in saying that, it's just I love skating. I love the people that I have in my life. I love the skateboarders that I know and hang with. So
The culture.
It's the best.
It creates a rad community.
It is, you know.
And I think what our mainstream society doesn't realize is like what an actual influence it does have on culture.
Yeah,
you know, like fashion especially. Yeah. Come on, man! Like so many people, skaters start all the stuff. Like
it's so crazy too. In saying that, it's like as a skater in the '90s and stuff, it's like you were a dipshit if you skated, and like dude, everyone hated you.
That was my heyday, the '90s, and I remember when like a friend of mine. Because we used to skate in Nowra, him and a few of them actually like were young, like 16, so, and actually went to America to skate. Like they went to San Francisco, they wanted to skate EMB, like Embarcadero, because that was like the holy grail of street skating.
Massive,
and they went to all the spots in LA, and then I remember they came back and they were different people.
Oh,
and
100%.
They all came back with these super baggy jeans on, like that they'd got from like a Salvos or a thrift shop in America.
Yeah.
And we're just like, no way. Like, look at their pants. Like, they're different. And I said to my friend, I'm like, dude, why are you wearing such baggy pants? And he goes, dude, I seen Guy Mariano skating and all the pros were wearing it. And so we just went and did it. And then it was all like, we'd go to the Smith family or the Salvos, buy the biggest pants we could, tie them in at the waist as much, and then cut them off. So and they were like pretty much like a foot wide at the bottom, you know.
With those fat tongue DCs and stuff like that.
Well, even before that, but and then it was like, then we'd have like really small wheels because small wheels were in. It was all about like hitting.
Yeah, that was the steezo.
And it's like, and then all of a sudden, like mainstream society are wearing like really fat pants. You know?
Yeah, it's always the case.
Same with skate shoes. Like skate shoes are so common that people don't even realize that they were started from skateboarding, man. If you're wearing a pair of Vans, you can thank skateboarders for that.
Exactly right. It's even like Thrasher too. It's like so many girls and stuff now wearing it. It's like I remember being
I
younger,
laugh every time.
and like I'd be at a party or something. There's like no way. When I was young, I'd tell a girl that I skated. Like I would be like, no
way. Yeah, you don't talk about
from me.
I'm never
but
gonna
now,
hook
like every girl, there's so many girls wearing like Thrasher hoodies and stuff. Like,
and they would have no clue what they're wearing.
Yeah, it kind of sucks too, because like that's such a OG raw company too.
Yeah.
It's like they were like they still are, but basically like for me growing up, it's like I was always so up to date with like everything that was in Thrasher and that. Like
I've got to show you
videos and all that stuff. Like
I've got to show you my collection. I've got two milk crates full of Thrashers from like 94 onwards.
Yeah, that's right.
And my wife and my mum over the years have all tried to throw them out. I'm like, if anyone, I've said this, if anyone ever throws this shit out, like there's going to be massive problems in our house.
Yeah, I'm the same too. I got a massive bookshelf at home just full of all old skate mags and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what got me hyped to skate. There was no social media back then, you know. And like, there's a lot of VHSs and stuff that I wish I still had, and a lot of magazines, but it was like it wasn't a big thing growing up. I didn't really care. I was just like just one of those skateboarders. Like I used to just like that's what the routine was. Would like meet up at a mate's house as like a young teen. Would watch like some rough fucking skate video, and then just go skate all day.
Just
like,
psyched.
Yeah, just so super psyched.
Same.
Travel to Sydney and that, like
Same.
young teenagers and like
Same.
that's what it's about. Like as I was saying, like being a deviant as a kid and that, like we used to wag primary school to go bodyboarding and go skating and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
Like that's primary school.
No,
It's like I couldn't imagine why kids doing that now, man.
No.
Like,
I wish I did more of
God.
that. I wish that's where the real stuff was, man.
Yeah, man, definitely. Yeah.
That's so funny. Just like on that theme of magazines, like how much better is it looking at something that's in print than as opposed to on a screen?
It's the authenticity is there, right? It's just like it's authentic, it's special.
Yeah, I was really sad when Transworld went out of business because I mean, it was always like Transworld and Thrasher. I mean, for a lot of years, Transworld was a more popular magazine than Thrasher.
Yeah.
But when they went out of business, it was just sad because it was like, oh, this is the way the world's going, you know?
Yeah.
Like, but there's those pictures in those mags and you could just, they'd pop out of it and you're looking at it and you're looking at everything in the background and you're trying to, and then your imagination goes wild like about what was actually going on in that shot, you know?
It's just hard with social media. It's done that for those big, you know, those were big companies to keep up with social media standards these days, you know?
Yeah.
But in saying that, it's like, it's crazy because it's like everything's digitalized now, but it's like even people like film photography is so big again. It's like,
I know.
But it's a special thing. It's like the graininess. It's like, there's something beautiful about it.
Because that's
like even records too, like still like a few of my mates still like actually a lot of my friends actually still listen to vinyl and stuff, you know? And,
I think like humans innately just want authenticity.
Yeah.
And we can
there's
sense
something
it.
special about it.
We can sense it. It's a natural sense that we can smell bullshit a mile away.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, when I'm watching footage of like super crisp HD, like it's almost better than reality.
It's too polished.
It's too it's too
It's too
real.
polished.
It's too real.
Especially if it's like saying like skating. It's like skating is raw. It's not like Hollywood polished, like all the fanciest gear and like that's why I don't know. I've always like a lot of people get like really into the politics of skateboarding and what's cool and what's not. It's like it's not for me. It's like I think it just might have been the group of people I grew up with and who influenced me. It's just like we just didn't care. You know, it's like skaters like we didn't care what anyone wore as a skateboarder. Like if you're a good person, like you're a legend and like you were liked by everyone. So
that was like our crew. If you're a good person and you really love skating, of course, hang with us.
Yeah.
To the point where like it was sometimes infiltrated by kooks who and especially when we all started getting into smoking heaps of weed, it started to attract people that just wanted to hang with us to smoke weed.
Yeah, exactly right.
And then things got a bit weird.
Yeah.
I think. But at the core of it, the core crew of skaters were still together.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's what it's about. It's like even these day and age, it's like I feel like it's the same too now. Like in a sense, it's like I don't know, it's crazy because like I love skating. I'll never do anything different. But in saying that, it can be very judgmental at the same time too. And it's like this standard of withholding some sort of style. And it's just like I grew up skateboarding with like wearing clothes from fucking Big W. You know, I didn't give a shit. Like, and I skated. Like, that's what I did. I was a skateboarder. Everything I had was like secondhand and stuff. And at the time when I wasn't getting flowed stuff and I was like younger, a lot of my mates were pro-ams and stuff like that. And I'd always have just like fresh boards from the boys or just like old boards. And, you know, and that's why as I got older and started getting flowed stuff, or even if I wasn't on flow at the time, like I'd always like, if I get a new board and my board was still half decent, I just still do it to this day. Like I go to the skate park and just see who wants a new board, or
Rad.
hit one of my friends up if they need new wheels, you know, or whatever. It's just like, that's skateboarding, the community, the love, the passion. That's skating to me, not what's cool, what's everyone doing, because it's opinions. Like everyone has their own opinions on what's cool and what's not, and it's styles. People like different stuff and everything, you know.
You know why? Because it's an art form.
Yeah.
And art is subjective, and it's personal to everyone.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So that's why. So it's good and bad.
It is.
Yeah, like I know for me, like Jared and I were talking about this. Yeah, I like seeing people in the streets. You know. But then I watched the Street League guys.
Yeah,
epic, amazing.
Exactly right.
Conflicted.
Exactly
and
right.
it is skateboarding.
Yeah.
It's an art form in my mind,
exactly
and
right.
that form of the art doesn't appeal to me, and that's okay.
Yeah, and it's the same. I think it's like, it's crazy too, because I think every skateboarder feels the same like that too. It's just like, you know, but it's like in saying that it's like, there's nothing wrong with that at the same time. It's like those guys, you know, it's not for us and like a lot of my friends, because, you know, the way we all talk about it and just carry on, we're all dipshits about it. But, you know, it's not for me, definitely, the whole millionaire type of thing. It's just like, it's just an unrealistic way to look at it. And it sucks that it's there, because young kids are going to look at skateboarding and be like, I want to be like Niger that fucking goes to Hollywood parties and has this bullshit and has all these Audis and everything. But that's not skating. It's so crazy, because I was a kid and I looked at skating and was like, I want this out of skateboarding. I want to get money. I want to do all this. But then I got older and realized money's not everything. And it's like, everything I've gotten out of skateboarding, money can't buy. Who I am as a man has basically made me from skateboarding, you know? So that's why, like, now I want to be able to give back and, you know, be a motivational speaker and just share my story, you know, my little story that I have, you know, like one person in the world. That's all I am, you know, out of fucking billions, you know, and I'm just one person that, you know, has my own story that I'd love to be able to tell to help other people and, you know, maybe motivate some kids to, you know, get off the lounge or get off from the fucking telly and the Xbox, whatever they're doing, and skate or do something that they, you know, they're passionate about and not be scared to do it, you know, whether it's riding bikes or motorbikes or whatever, you know, so...
There's that real fear of judgment and ridicule. Like I think that holds a lot of people back, kids or even adults, because they're scared of what other people will think if they put themselves out there, if they embarrass themselves. I mean, I still go through it because I haven't been skating. Like a good example is I haven't been skating a lot lately. Since especially the last sort of 3 months since life just got really crazy and we had to move back from Bali and I was skating a fair bit in Bali. There's an awesome skate scene.
It looks sick.
The locals are so into it, and they're the same as us.
Yeah,
beautiful, and they're accepting as so tolerant. But you know, like I've turned up to the DIY spot a fey times, and everyone's ripping. I love it,
shredding.
It's but I'm self-conscious about putting myself out there again, and because I'm a bit older now, I'm really aware of it.
Yeah,
I'm like, no, you know this feeling. Yeah, you just cruise around and do what you do. If you feel like a kook and you look like a kook, who cares?
Yeah. You know? In saying about the DIY, how good is that? Hey, it's
so sick.
Wollongong Council blowing it. A bunch of dipshits just make the best thing in Wollongong, like just a DIY spot. And how many people, like with all the COVID stuff, it sucks. But now the restrictions are getting, you know, eased off now in Australia. But it's like you watch now, like once the restrictions ease off, how many people are going to be skating Mavericks? It's like, but all those people, they're like, these are all guys that are probably going to, and girls that are probably going to stay in skateboarding for a long time. Dude. It's like the authenticity about it, you know, and it's like, you go to a skate park and it's just, it's crazy. It's like me, it's weird too, because I grew up as a street skater, but I was always influenced by tranny, like transitional skateboarders. In saying that, but then skated tranny basically my whole life and still do, you know, and it's so funny. It's like the older you get, the more you go towards tranny.
I'm hearing you, brother.
It beats you up, skate the streets.
Mate, the joints just, it's not this, but
it's
easier on the body.
But in saying that, yeah, that's definitely, it's just the authenticity of it. It's just raw skateboarding at Mavericks compared to a skate park. I love seeing it, you know. Even though like I'm not really phased about it and don't really skate street much, but I love chilling out with the boys and skating a bit there. And,
I said this to Jared. It's the most special thing you guys
cool,
have got
man.
going there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Because it's the essence of humanity in my mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Because there was a vacant car space.
Yeah.
Car that was of an abandoned building.
Yeah, yeah.
Just sitting there.
Yeah.
And then it's like humans coming together and making it into something.
Yeah.
And with no money, with no support, just doing it. And if it gets shut down, it's such a what's the word I'm looking for? Like blight on our society. You guys should be congratulated.
Yeah, exactly right.
Okay, I mean I know, but then we get so caught up in liability and legalities. To our detriment.
It's so funny too because I don't think I've ever heard of a skateboarder ever trying to sue someone about stacking their skateboard and their property.
Ever
in my life.
Either have I. And if there has been, it's got to be so isolated.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
Yeah.
But I want to just keep going on that theme of authenticity, especially with skateboarding.
Yeah.
Because I watch a lot of skate movies. And now with YouTube, and I've got YouTube on my TV, I'm like, I'm just watching clip after clip, to the point where it's unhealthy.
Yeah.
You know, but I know there's so much content out there and so much good content.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting is the nature of the content. So you see a lot of clips now and a lot of companies releasing the raw footage, uncut footage. Yeah. And, Thrasher have that My War segment, which is like one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And it just shows like a skater going through the battle.
Yeah.
And and Beagle has just released this thing on YouTube called Beagle Tapes, and he's got all these old tapes.
It's amazing.
And unedited, he's just like got all this old footage and just outtakes, and it's just like unedited where he's like moving the camera around, not even
It's because it's like,
and everyone loves it. It's
sick.
Thousands of watches.
I think that's why. It's because like skateboarding is grimy. It's gritty. It's raw.
Yeah.
It's like that's what people want to see too. You know, like don't get me wrong. There's nothing better than watching someone's full part with like a banging song behind it. You know. But in saying that too, it's like raw files are sick too. It's because you get to see you actually see what they put into it. Like, and as skateboarders too, it's like, I still swear by it. Like, skateboarders are the toughest out of all sort of like, I don't regard skateboarding as a sport.
No.
But compared to sports, I still think that skateboarders are like some of the hardest people going around.
Fucking oath.
It's like, I've seen people get bodied on like 10 stair rails and literally jump up like they're a piece of rubber, bounce up, run back up, do it again.
Yeah.
And in saying that, like the injuries that you go through, the amount of times you hurt yourself, the broken bones and everything.
Most people aren't doing it for money.
No, and that's the thing, especially in Australia too. It's like you have to be in the top in Australia and then go to America. And then you have to start from the bottom again. Yeah. It's like, I've with so many friends that have been in that situation, and it's
so
like,
few have cracked it in Australia and even in America. When you think of the volumes of people who skate, the ones that are actually making money, it'd be like 0.00001%.
Well, the boys like Jared and like a few of the lads just got back from New York and like they went to one of the skate parks here. It's like kind of like a street setup too.
Is that the one under the bridge?
What's under the. I think it's like LES or some bullshit name like that. But so they went to that park there and like just the shit that they were doing there, it's insane. It's like, but that's like you'd see that here for like at the beginning of a comp, like people warming up, but it's like them just chilling. Like, but it's like that's the standard of skateboarding. It's a very demanding. And it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not really into that. Like I don't know. I feel like there's nothing better than like
just go and roll. Yeah,
go skate. All the boys meet up, go film. That's what I love. Like. That's what too, like what Marty and all that have done with SHFC, Jared.
Super Happy Fun Crew.
Yeah.
Such a sick name.
Yeah, man. But like,
love that name.
I love the fact, like, even when we were filming for that and stuff, and just packing the car and just going away with all your mates and talk shit all weekend, skate all weekend, get on the piss, eat fucking good food, have a barbie, whatever. And same as with like, with all the rest of the guys that are skate too, we all go skate. Might end up somewhere, have a barbie at a spot, or whatever, just get on the beers and just chill, have a good time. Like, I love that. That's what I love out of skate. That's skateboarding to me, not who's wearing fucking $200 shirts or all this cool up to date shit. It's just like,
and this is where just in particular, this is where I'm so conflicted with Nigel Houston, right? I just want to say this because he's so fucking good, and he's in the streets. He's in the streets all the time, and like charging, and he's made a lot of money in Hollywood parties. Lives in the Hollywood Hills, and I'm actually stoked when I see skateboarders make money as well.
Exactly right.
But him, for some reason, I don't know why I'm so conflicted. He's so good.
I'm the same too. Where it's like I'm like at the same time, it's like good on him for making all that money and killing it, you know. But like I personally, like I'm not into it. But it's like good on him for it. It's
100%.
like, at the end of the day, it's like the one thing that's it's like it's such a it's a double-edged sword with skateboarding. It's like as skateboarders, we dedicate our whole lives to this. You know, we literally sacrifice a lot to go skating every single day to get better, and then you know a lot of people have that drive to want to make something of themselves in skateboarding, and it's just like you dedicate so much to it, but realistically, like I don't know, you don't really get too much back in a sense of materialistic stuff. So you put all, say if you're a young kid, you don't have a job, you know, every cent you can save, you put all this money into it, but you're not getting it back. So that's why there's a big confliction with skateboarders that dedicate their whole lives and then get older and be like, fuck, I need a job, you know, because that's what I did, you know. I did the same thing. I skated and dedicated everything into skateboarding as a kid. And then got older and, you know, got to my 20s. I'm like, oh, I'm still not working yet. I'm still just skating and making money, doing a couple of cashies here and there, or, you know, working for just like small jobs, weekend jobs and that for a long time.
And that's
became a young dad and I was like, fuck, like I literally don't have any skills because I've dedicated my whole life to skateboarding and wanted to be a pro. But in saying that, I still loved where I was as a skater, but I was like, I didn't make any money off it. Like, so I had to, you know, try to adapt, and it was a hard thing to go through when you're that age and you don't have skills. Like,
then there's a lot of people who get caught out there, man.
Exactly, it's a trap, you know. But it's because skating's you're just in so much in the moment too, you know. But
I must admit, like, throughout the course of my life, it's been a constant. I had that realization like in my 20s because I remember I was very much the same. I think a lot of skaters entertain that dream. I was like, yes, you know, and and then I think I actually broke my ankle pretty bad. And I remember I had to go on unemployment. I was living back with my mum. I was like in my early to mid 20s and had this on the lounge with a broken leg, just went, I've really got nothing going on. You know?
Those moments suck,
well, actually,
but they're good, but they suck.
Well, there's a period there where I didn't even have like any unemployment benefits because I couldn't even bother doing that. And then I was like, well, hang on a second. There's some, you know, but that actually started me on this other journey of, you know, making a living. But then, and I did sort of go away from skateboarding for a while, but then it's just when I've just kept going back to it constantly. And then when things are going hard in my life, like I go skating and it just, everything seems okay. I don't know. Yeah, but I surf a lot too. Yeah. Surfing's been, and having those two passions have just really saved me from a lot of mental illness, like, or going really deep into substance abuse. Yeah. Which I have gone deep into substance abuse before. Yeah. That's a whole nother story, but I think I would have gone to those next levels if it wasn't for skateboarding. So you said then, we put all our money and our time into it, but we're not really getting anything back. But I sort of disagree with you a bit because I think we are getting back. Yeah, like you've achieved quality friendships, lifelong.
Definitely.
Okay, and you've also achieved like some like character development, like that. Yeah, you know, pushing yourself, and you know what it's like to get hurt and try hard and persist at something. Yeah. So it's given us these qualities that we take for granted.
Yeah, definitely.
And money can't.
See, I didn't see that for a long time as a kid. Like, I guess it's just like being conformed to look at all the materialistic things in life, you know. It's
because it's the society we've been. This is shoved on us every day, mate. Like you can't. We're told we have to buy this, we have to buy that.
And not just that, even, you know, skaters too. You got to wear this to be cool, or, you know, it's like that's unrealistic to me too. It's like all the shit I wear. It's like I might wear a few brand name things and that, but most of the clothes and stuff I wear is like all plain clothes. It's like, you I'd rather spend money on my kids to make them look more fly than me. Like I don't really give a shit.
That's exactly what we do.
Yeah, it's like I don't have $110 to buy a t-shirt. It's like $110 can do a lot for kids.
Is it really $110 t-shirts?
Yeah, it's like $100 t-shirts, $80 t-shirts, or $50 shirts and stuff like.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, like.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but in saying that too, like if I did have the money, I'd be rocking the flyest shit. But but it's not realistic with my lifestyle. It's like I got 3 kids and
Get it.
I don't really care what I obviously do. I care what I wear, but I mean I don't care whether it's like a brand name or anything like that. Like I don't care about all that shit.
But you're saying like a lot of skaters want to be cool and stuff. I do think that's a young person thing anyway, whether you're a skateboarder or not.
It's a young man's game.
And it just, in skateboarding, it just translates to, But you talk to some older skateboarders then, like who are in their 30 beyond. Yeah. And it'll be exactly what you're saying. It's just like, I just skate when I can because I've got to, every moment I can be on my skateboard is a gift.
Yeah, exactly right.
And I remember I listened to an awesome podcast with Jamie Thomas. I mean, he was someone I really looked up to as a younger skater, and he's my age. He's in his sort of early to mid 40s, and he did a random podcast. It was a non-skateboarding one. Yeah, and the person said, "Oh, well, how do you keep skating at your age?" And he said, "And what do you say to people who are in your age group who want to keep skating?" He's like, "Yeah, well, just go, just roll." He's like, "Don't even try and do tricks. If you're scared of getting hurt because you can't afford to get hurt, just stand on your skateboard and just cruise around. Yeah. Don't put your ego aside, put your expectations aside of what you used to be able to do and just cruise." Yeah, definitely. And it's like, I was like, yeah, I needed to hear it. Yeah. Yeah.
It's always good. Dude, it's good here. It's good hearing the wise guys of skateboarding talk to, and just anyone that's just, it's like even just anyone that's been through those hurdles or had their own life track, but to listen to what they've got to say, it's always good to have a change of perspective about things, Makes you look back at things and be like, fuck, okay.
Like, why do you think that? Like, how important to you is perspective?
The perspective's massive. Just like it's your outlook on things and how you want to look at things, and I feel like it's like being the authenticity to yourself and how you should see things. Perspective.
Perspective.
It's like, it's massive. It's like your perspective on things is the way you look at things, and how I think there's like a borderline of what you should sort of see out of life, but everyone's different and everyone's going to have different things they look like, different ways they look at it. Yeah. But it's always good to have a different perspective on things and look outside of the box and really analyze what's going on around you,
Yeah. It goes back to what you said at the very start about like mindset. You can be in the worst situation in the world. Yeah. But you can find the positive in that. Yeah. Or find the learning in it. Yeah. And, that's something I'm working on a daily basis. Yeah. Yeah. And I just love that. And I feel like when you have children, it's more important than ever. So
it's definitely, it's something that's massive in the back of your mind when that happens when you have children too, Yeah. It's like, because, you're responsible for them, and it's like you're molding these little human beings into, the soon-to-be adults that they're going to be one day. And it's like, you see it, and especially too, coming from a low-income area and, a lot of substance abuse and stuff. And, I've had a lot of friends go in and out of jail, and, people that have died young, and, use drugs, and, I was a victim of substance, young growing up and doing a lot of drugs and drinking a lot of alcohol and everything else, but I was just lucky that I just had some good, foundational people in my life that sort of helped me steer away from that.
And who were they?
So those people that definitely helped me out of that was definitely my mum. Like my mum was a big one, and just my close mates. Like they know who they are. Like my close friends too, especially. Like I've got a lot of good close friends that helped me a lot with that. And I went through a lot of stuff young. Like I had a few mates pass away too. Like 2 of my best mates passed away like 7 months in between.
Do you mind me asking what from?
So one of them, he was a part of a train accident. And another friend died in Thailand. 2 of my friends from Berkeley, they were like, we all grew up as skaters and that, but they were like tradies and played footy and that too, and just worked really hard, but skated like on the side. And we all went to the gym and shit together, but we all grew up together. So like, in saying that, that was like a big thing growing up for me, and I think it just made me change the way I looked at things and appreciated things more. And yeah, it's pretty hard when all that type of stuff happens. But in saying that, it's like, just because my hardship or whatever I've gone through doesn't mean there's someone else around the corner that hasn't gone through that. It's like everyone has a plateful. Every single person has a plateful. Yeah.
Yeah. I've in recent times I've actually, I guess, had an opportunity to associate with a different level of society.
Yeah.
I don't know how to put that in a nice way. Well, no, in a nice way. Well, I mean, I've grown up in working middle class areas, low socio-economic areas, but more recently I've been through my job associating with maybe the higher end of society.
Yeah, yeah.
And actually got to see how they live sometimes, and it's pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But as time's gone on, I've seen that it's definitely it's been a real eye opener. It's not as ideal as we think, and
exactly right.
It's just a different set of problems.
Yeah, definitely.
And it just comes back to what's going on internally. Yeah. Whether you're rich, poor, middle class, disabled.
Exactly right.
There's issues to be dealt with.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, like, our societies are so based on money and consumerism.
Yeah.
And we value our happiness on that.
Yeah.
And I've actually myself felt that for a long time. Like, I need to have this and I need to have that.
Yeah.
But I've realized that, that's not going to bring the happy feelings at all. In fact, it can create more problems.
It actually, I think it does, hey. Because it makes you lose track of what it is to be a person, what it is to be a human being. It's like, that's not who we are as people. It's like worrying all about yourself is not who we are. It's like we're, as people, we're kind of like ants. Like, we all got to help each other to succeed in life. It's like, there's no. I feel like there's no place for egos and stuff like that. And if there's people, imagine if everyone had a massive ego and didn't give a shit about anyone. Like, the world would be so much more worse off. Like,
I know, but a lot of people,
even though there is a lot of
ego.
there is a lot of fucking dickheads out there like that just couldn't give a shit. But at the end of the day, it's like, that's them. It's the raw sort of beauty of life. It's like, you don't have to be a good person. You don't have to be a bad person. It's up to your moral values, what you feel like you should hold yourself to. It's like, I've met a lot of people that were dickheads, or like, it's like, but I don't blame them. Like, I don't care. I don't lose sleep over it. It's like, I just have to worry.
I do.
Yeah. See, I think it's just being judged so much as like growing up, just having a disability and stuff, where I really don't care. I think too, it's patience. Like, I don't really have much patience because all of my patience goes on my kids, really. And like, just, I think too, not cracking, just having people. It's so funny because I hate people staring at me, but it's like, I understand the curiosity in that, but it's like, so sometimes I'm like doing the shopping or something with the kids, and then some fucking idiot comes up to me and is like, "Oh, what happened to your legs? Like, why are you like that?" And it's like, it's really rude and abruptly, and I'm just like, man, like I understand you're curious, but like, I'm with me kids, man, like. That's where it's like, so like, I understand it because a lot of people will approach it differently and ask me differently, where it's like, I'll usually just like tell someone, someone comes up to me and asks me like, oh, how are you? Like, hey, how you going, man? Like, oh, I noticed your situation. Like, like, what happened? I'm like, yeah, I'm like, when you can see the curiosity and the purity in the way somebody approaches you, it's like, you're going to respond back like that in the same. But if someone comes up to you, you're doing shopping or you're eating lunch, and someone's like, what the fuck happened to you? You're like, what the fuck happened to you?
Does that actually happen?
Like, yeah, all the time.
Because that was one of my questions. I mean, on a day-to-day basis, even coming here today. Yeah. I mean, do you notice people looking at you?
Yeah, but it's like, I notice it, but it's like, I don't really care at the end of the day anymore. Like, I'm just so aware of it now, and I'm nearly 30. It's been 30 years of it, But in saying that, it was hard as a young kid and a young man watching people, and then, like I don't know, especially from the area I was brought up into, it's like people stare at you like someone's going to get punched in the fucking face. Like, you know, but being a dad and, you know, just being an adult, it's like, it's not like that now, you know, like I'm just chill, humble. Like, you know, the older me would have been different and would have like yelled at someone or something, but
Like,
it's like.
can you sum someone up pretty quickly when they're looking at you? You sort of know what they're thinking and
Yeah.
and like you understand they're curious.
That's just me, like as a person, like as nice and as
And you're
happy,
happy to
as I am, I'm
talk?
pretty raw at the same time too. Like, you know, people like, I'm not afraid to stare someone down that's staring at me either. It's like, I'm not really scared of much in life, you know. Like I'm saying that I'm not like some big tough guy, but I'm not scared at the same time, you know. So, yeah.
You don't let fear control you?
No way.
Dude,
no
I can
way.
tell. Anyone that does what you do on a skateboard,
No, I appreciate that.
that says a lot about your character. Yeah. Because I did have that question for you. And I do like appreciate, like it must get exhausting if you get dickheads saying stuff like that to you. But I do, like, do you understand now that, like, that by telling your story to people randomly in the street could be very, very healing and empowering?
That's basically what got me into want to be, like, obviously, like, the other things that have happened in life, but one thing that just kind of pushed me into it was, like, I was probably like 17, 18 years old. And I missed the last train to get home. I think it was from Wollongong or something like that. So I had to wait like 2-3 hours or whatever it was. It was like real late at night. And I had to basically like crash out and set my alarm and wake up like on the train platform and wait for the next train. And I remember I was like, oh, fuck this. And I think went out the front and had a smoke and skated around and that. And then I was just like doing flat ground tricks and just skating around. And I remember this guy walked past me. And he was like, just walked past and then like kind of looked and I was like, oh, who the fuck's this guy? Like, what's his problem? And then like just being me, I was like being very, very standoffish. And then he come back and then he's like, look, you know, like, oh, hey man, like I'm, you know, such and such. How are you? You know? And I'm like, just started speaking to him and he had this weird look on his face and he sat down with me and that and we just started chatting and started clicking straight away. And he was a bit rough looking dude. And, you know, I kind of had some old looking clothes or whatever, you know, like look real rough dude. And it's like late at night in Wollongong too. And we ended up having a cigarette together or whatever and just started chatting away. And he was like, look, I just want to be able to thank you right now. I'm like, what for? And he's like, I was honestly on my way to go kill myself. And like, I was about to go commit suicide and I seen you skating and thought to myself, what am I worried about? Like this guy has a low quality of life and he's like killing it right now. And he's not letting the world, like the problems in the world shut him down. And he's like, was about to commit suicide and said to me, he's like, man, thank you. And I didn't know, but I was just like, me being me without even talking saved someone's life. And I was just like, after that, I was like, fuck. Like that's so crazy in life to know that you can, how much you can impact someone and influence them, you know, and that's what drives me to want to do that, you know, and yeah,
and like also just understanding, you know, we never know what's below the surface with people.
You never do,
and you can't underestimate it, and like that's why it's so important to be kind.
Yeah,
because you just don't know what you're going through.
Exactly, you know,
or what others are going through.
Yeah, that's why I always do it. Like if someone, you know, when you like sort of walk past someone and they give you the eye contact, you give them a little nod or just a little smile. You know, or just, you know, it's just about being nice and being humble and, you know, being a good person, you know, being what's true to you. And that's me, my upbringing, you know, it's like my mum would kick my fucking ass if she knew I was just like being rude and obnoxious and arrogant, like, you know. And in saying that, it's like my grandparents didn't sacrifice their everything to come to a country like Australia and live so freely and even though they struggled for years, they worked their asses off. But they come here to make a better life for their family and their next generation of family. And they did that. And my grandparents would be rolling in their graves knowing if I was sitting around feeling sorry for myself. And, you know, so, but I fully understand and grasp the impact of my disability, you know, for other people that may not have disabilities but have problems that you can't see. But that's the thing. We all have our own problems. Mine you can see. You know, not all of them, but you can see my problems. But some people you can't see those problems at all, you know.
I like that. Like, you know, we can see your problems.
Yeah.
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 I mean, sometimes, like, I think that that in itself could make it easier because you literally there's nowhere to hide.
Exactly right. There's
Whereas
nowhere to hide at all.
For a lot of us, we spend a lot of time trying to hide those problems from the real world. And really, like, where's that getting people? Where's it getting you?
Nowhere.
Yeah.
Look how many young people are committing suicide and stuff and hiding all that, you know. It's like, it's not good. It's not the way. It's like, that's why I'm so grateful to have the network that I have in my life. And maybe I could one day form a network for people to be able to have that too, you know?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I love it. I want to go back to what you said about just like you see people in the street, you say g'day, give them a smile. I mean, it's really that simple.
It is.
I mean, and that's something
so simple. It's so easy. It doesn't take anything to say hello or, you know.
And that's been a big thing I've noticed since coming back from Bali because the Balinese, I mean, it's just the land of 1,000 smiles. Like everyone will smile at you.
I haven't been to Bali yet, but I've heard a lot of good things about it, you know.
Yeah, they're a Hindu culture. They believe in karma. And it just resonates throughout everything they do. They're super spiritual. They do offerings every day.
Yeah.
And to the point where it's almost laughable. Like when we first moved into our villa, we had a papaya tree in the backyard, and then our nanny said that's a bad omen.
Yeah.
You got to cut it down. And then she had to go and get the local elders to come and look at this papaya tree because it would bring the evil spirits.
Yeah, yeah.
But then they decided that because it's a large papaya tree that we didn't have to cut it down, like stuff like that. But it's like rad, like you know, like cool. It's really tapping into this sense of, you know, there's something bigger than us. You know, there's the universe that's bigger.
Culture's a big thing, eh?
Yeah.
Culture, it's the beauty of it too. And I feel like that's why, even from mum's side and my dad's side, there's like very rich in culture in saying that, you know, and it's like, that's why I love my history, and it's who you are. It's your genetics. It's who your makeup as a person, you know, and I love all that. Like I'm such a proud Koori, eh? Like I love my culture, and I try to teach as much as I can to my kids. But that's what my grandparents did you know, my grandma and my aunties and uncles did, you know. It's because if you don't pass that on, it's just going to lose itself, you know. So very rich in culture that I try to pass on from, you know, dad's side, and especially from my mum's side, you know. They're very political about things and very passionate, very vocal about things, which I'd love to strive to be more like. In saying that, and very, you know, I think too as Chileans too, they're very humbling, very opening, and very caring, very charismatic, very, I don't know, as anyone knows that's met Chileans before. You know, a lot of my friends that have never been, you know, may have not had the best people around them growing up as kids, and then they've come to like a family barbecue or Christmas from my mum's side and have seen the way the Chileans do it. It's like, it's insane. It's like we all meet together, you know, on Christmas Eve, and we all have lunch, we have dinner together, you know, we all party all night, we all dance, we all drink, and, you know, everyone's so genuine and cares about the other person, or even if they don't know them. It's just like, but it's like, it's about presence of somebody else, you know, sharing their presence and their time with someone and being able to yarn and have a good time, you know. It's like trying to reflect what you want back, you know. It's massive, and that's what I love that, and I try to give that to my kids. Yeah, dude,
you're so unique.
Oh, cheers, I appreciate that.
Chilean and Koori.
Yeah, Warumunga.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's a mix.
You
it's
know,
a mix.
skateboarder.
Yeah.
So Chilean Koori skateboarder.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah. Like, wow. Like you've got so much to offer the world.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
It's just epic. And I just want to go on about one more thing. Like being someone that grew up as a skateboarder, and then, you know, and a surfer as well. And I surf a lot, especially in my older years, because it's easier on the body. But I also love the connection it gives me to our physical environment, the connection to the ocean.
Yeah.
And it actually has nurtured an element of conservationism in me.
Yeah.
The cultural difference I noticed there is like when I paddle out and surf, unless I know one of those other surfers, there'll be no eye contact, there'll be no hello. It's very cold. It's well, go away. Like you're here to take waves off me. Like it's competitive. But I turn up to a skate park or especially the DIY spot, and it's nothing but love. It's just this brotherhood.
Yeah.
And I really want that same level of brotherhood to translate into every element of society.
Yeah.
And it seems a lot colder in cities.
Yeah.
But and in country towns, I think there is more of that.
Yeah.
But man,
Yeah,
I think,
it'd be good to see it resonate a lot more, eh? But I think that comes down to like the skateboarders have always been outcasts from all different lights, you know, or different nationalities or
But does that
different
element,
makes and breeds, and it's like I think that's what makes it so special.
is that what draws you to it as well?
Yeah, and I think it definitely does. Like, I was always just not so much an outcast as a kid, but it was just like wasn't the coolest fucking kid going around, you know. Like, but in saying that, like everyone else was in that same boat, you know, like, and that's what I love that I was drawn to that because that's who I am today, and I honestly would never change it. Hey, yeah,
Brother.
yeah,
So epic.
yeah, man,
Dude, it's been epic.
yeah,
It's been an hour and 32 minutes, man.
man, that's gone quick.
It does go quick.
It does.
Ah, dude. Like, here's a question for you.
Yeah,
If you could go back to 18-year-old Stephen
yeah,
Stove,
yeah.
what would you say to him?
Do you want the PG or do you want the raw?
Dude, you'd be as raw AF, mate, whatever that means.
I would literally go back to me. I would fucking slap myself in the face and say, wake the fuck up to yourself.
Why?
Just because I was just like naive. I was so naive about things and I was just so worried about myself and I don't know, I just didn't think of like, I just lived too much in my past. I held on too much. I held on too much anger, too much other bullshit. I held on to too much of the future, you know, it wasn't living in the moment and appreciating the little things. That's the one thing I'd tell myself. Apart from slapping myself and telling myself to wake up, I say appreciate the little things.
Dude, that's beautiful, bro.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Now, listen, I ask all guests to come with a cause.
Yep.
And so what cause would you like to advocate for today?
Beyond Blue. Yeah.
Okay, why?
Just because I think that's everyone at one time in their life is going to be affected by mental illness. And more so because of me being affected by mental illness my whole life. And I feel like I'm starting to adapt better with it, but I feel like it's always going to be a part of my life, unfortunately, because I'm always going to have a lot of obstacles and things are going to get very hard. But in saying that, I've had a lot of people in my life commit suicide and just a lot of people have struggled their whole lives with it. So I'd love to advocate for Beyond Blue for mental health, not just for males, but for everyone in general.
For those that are not sure or unaware, can you tell us what Beyond Blue is and what it does?
Yep. So Beyond Blue is a non-for-profit organisation that are there to advocate and there to help guide people with mental illness. And I'm sure to just anyone that's going through anything, you know, jump on their website. They've got plenty of avenues to help you. There's they've got their hotlines. They've got all that type of stuff to help you, even if someone needs a chat or whatever. And they do a lot more too. A lot of advocating. All the information's on their website for people that, you know, are curious or they need help. You know.
Yeah, it gives options for people to go to. But what I love about it, it's also got a lot of like stories on it.
Yeah.
So people sharing their story, like they write about their story and their journey.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's that equation of like when people share their story,
Yeah.
like you find identification in elements of their story.
Yeah.
And for some reason, that in itself is healing.
Perspective.
So we often say, when it comes to mental illness, just talk about it, just talk about it. Well, yeah, we talk about it because like that's actually got healing in it.
Yeah.
And if that's all you do, like that's going to make a big difference.
Yeah. Like we were talking about before, perspective. Changes your perspective, being able to see somebody else's situation and look outside the box.
And I think like a big thing with mental illness is that there's a lot of feeling of isolation.
Yeah.
So it also reduces those feelings of being mentally isolated in your thoughts and the negativity that's going on in your head.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So what I'll do is that the link for Beyond Blue will be in Stephen's episode, and that will follow his episode via all the platforms, which you can find via the terriblehappytalks.com website with links to Apple Podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Stitcher, Google Podcasts. And listen, bro, I've got a present for you.
Yeah.
I've got two presents for you, and I'm going to be honest. This is awkward.
Yeah.
So, Indo Soul are supporters of the Terrible Happy Talks podcast, and we give all guests a gift, and that gift.
I already know what it's going to be. Actually, you know what's sick? I actually wear prosthetics, so you don't have to feel too bad. Yes, I will take the thongs gladly. Don't stress. If not, I can give them to someone else. But yes, thank you very much.
Thanks, bro. I was going to say,
I love you had a giggle to it too. It's like who gives a shit? You know, it's like who cares?
Well, the thing is, like, to your credit, mate, like, you make me feel comfortable enough to just talk about that as opposed to, like,
I appreciate that.
I'll just dance around it. And,
I told you before we started, just fucking say it how it is, mate. Don't hold back on anything you want to ask. So, yeah.
So, look, the Indosol Australian distributor will be sending you a pair of flip-flops or slides, depending on...
I might chuck them to mum.
What's your shoe size? Like, tell me your shoe size and they'll get you a pair.
I'm a 10, but I think I might grab one for mum, eh?
Dude, get a pair for mum.
Little late prezi for mum.
I'll get 2 pairs for you.
Yeah, sick.
Okay, tell me, and we'll go through the website.
Sick.
Those guys, they make their shoes out of recycled motor vehicle tyres. They've taken almost 100,000 tyres out of landfill by doing that, and they're on your feet, which are pretty epic. And they're a company that I just really feel proud to be affiliated with.
Yeah,
and you can get 15% off if you use the promo code on their website THT, and also they're buying food for people in Bali who need it for every pair of flip flops and slides sold. So. Yeah, man, they're a company that are just wanting to put back in and not just take.
It's sick. There
right,
should be more like that, man. It's amazing to see. Hey, yeah, it's really good.
Going through all this bullshit at the moment with COVID and all that, like. I really hope that it's a time for reflection, and I hope that industry are reflecting on more sustainable ways of doing things. Like,
yeah, man,
this has been really hard, but I really fucking hope some good stuff comes out of this. Like,
definitely,
and I can feel it.
I'm sure there will. I'm sure there's a lot brewing up. A lot of time for people to think. I reckon there's so many amazing ideas getting conjured up while people are at home.
You reckon?
Let's just hope so, eh?
Dude, I hope so.
Yeah.
All right, brother. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, the pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me.
And high five. Ew. Let's have a coffee and some food, eh?
Let's do it, man.
Ew. Love your work, mate. You're an absolute gem.